Of the bulletin. It is now 85 seconds to midnight. It is the determination of the Bulletin's Science and Security Board that humanity has not made sufficient progress on the existential risks that endanger us all. We thus move the clock forward. The Doomsday Clock is a tool for communicating how close we are to destroying the world with technologies of our own making. The risks we face from nuclear weapons, climate change, and disruptive technologies are all growing. Every second counts, and we are running out of time. It is now 85 seconds to midnight. It is the determination of the Bulletin's Science and Security Board that humanity has not made sufficient progress on the existential risks that endanger us all. We thus move the clock forward. The Doomsday Clock is a tool for communicating how close we are to destroying the world with technologies of our own making. The risks we face from nuclear weapons, climate change, and disruptive technologies are all growing. Every second counts, and we are running out of time.
Yeah. Barakatah Yahweh. Barakatah Yahweh Shai. Want to give all praises, all honor, and all glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Kahaloyum, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rachaha Kodash. I'd like to give double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and do well. To the elder apostles, bishops in Connecticut, the bishops, the preachers, the teachers, the evangelists, and the four winds preaching in truth and sincerity, risking your lives more now than ever, the hopeful elect, Shalom. To the Israelite foreigners who phenotype may look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel through your father and have come back to the fold, Shalom. To you sisters, you are Chwathim, who listen and learn under your husband, which is your spiritual leader, with meekness and with silence. This your brother Aram Yehawada with the lesson. You can see Iran declares war, right? Statue burned. Attack next, right? Middle Eastern intentions, right? And it says Iran burn Israel with statue of Baal. Netanyahu warned Iran has declared war by burning this the statue of Baal, right? And Baal is a deity that you sacrifice children to, right? It's not of the Most High. It's the reason why we got kicked out of Israel in the first place as the Israelites, following Baal, which I don't know if it's the Philistines, but I know it's one of them Hamite nations that worship Baal, and of course Israel, because the Lord said that was going to be a snare unto us if we didn't drive them all out from the land, and which we didn't. So we end up worshiping some of their gods, which made the Most High angry with us, and here we are in America, Babylon the Great, right? But we're declaring who we are once again, as the Lord giving utterance, giving forth the baptism and the Holy Spirit, bringing back that Spirit. The Lord said that He will stir up the pure remembrance of His hopeful elect, which will be the elect. And as you can see, that's the statue of Molech, which Bibi Netanyahu is angry about, saying that they're going too far. They're declaring war, right? Which right there, you see how they have the Israeli flag right there, and that's how they feel about the Israeli. And right there, in front of it has the American flag, and that's how they feel about you. And you see this has the ovalips or ovalips, or however you say it, which is in America, which shows you that this is all idols, idolatry. Meanwhile, these people are saying that they're the people of God, but they're all being found out. So as this time moved closer, 85 seconds to midnight, right, which is the end of Esau's world, we could see that it's coming into what fruition, right? And then all of this is coming on the cusp of all that information coming out of the Epstein files, right? Which basically goes to the Baal worship of sacrificing children. Meanwhile, you Christians are still wondering if Mary got immaculate conceived. Well, your world is about to be immaculately destroyed, man. You know, and you don't have a clue, right?
They're set up, these four angels are set up to stir up things and control things and to pull things back. Because World War III is not going to happen unless and until the whole planet Earth is chipped. We're gonna not accept it, and some of us will be put to death. So get your mindset into you might be put to death.
Heathen be awakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat, for there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about.
The valley of Jehoshaphat. Now that's when you got to go into the root word, the etymon of the word. Jehoshaphat is the word, and after I finish, I'm gonna go back to it. Jehoshaphat is Yahweh Shabbat, Yahweh's judgment. Right here in the second verse. I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat, or Yahweh's judgment. He's gonna bring them into a lowland to judge them, and will plead with them, and the word there is judge, with them there for my people. My people are the Israelites, starting with the elect, not any old nation. If you call on Jesus and you believe in the 12 tribes, like I said, keep listening to those two sellouts. And they sold out. They sold out. And for my heritage starts with your land. Land has culture. So, you can't say this is my heritage without going into the culture of the heritage, which is the Lord's. That's why them heathens that were put in place in the land, lions came after them because what? They wasn't keeping the culture of the land. They wasn't keeping the heritage. So you have to keep the heritage, even though you're not the people, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land. And that's what they did. That's what these devils did. They parted that whole Middle East, that Levant area, they done parted up, man.
Put ye in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Come, get you down, for the press.
Put ye in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. That's Revelation chapter 14. Put ye in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. So this is what Joel seen and saw and wrote down. John the Apostle saw the same thing and recorded it in Revelation chapter 14, which is a beautiful chapter.
Is full, the vats overflow, for their wickedness is great.
The fats overflow because that's talking about the fat of grapes. That's Isaiah 63.
Multitudes, multitudes in the valley of decision, for the day of the Lord is near in the valley of decision. The sun and the moon shall be darkened, and the stars shall withdraw their shining. The Lord also shall roar out of Zion and utter his voice.
Yeah, it's also the fat of is it Isaiah or is it Jeremiah? Sometimes I get it confused between Isaiah and Jeremiah, but it talks about you made yourself fat as the bull, right? And then when a certain thing, when a bull or animal gets to fat, it's time for you to sacrifice them or slaughter them, right? Matter of fact, let's get that real quick. Right. Okay. Jeremiah 50, right? It says, because Jeremiah 50 verse 11, because ye were glad, because ye rejoiced, right, over the Israelites, right? Because you were able to put us into subjection, into slavery, right? You were ultimately able to get the fatness of the earth by the sword, by putting us into slavery, right? Though you and the heathen, the other heathens had you had aught with each other, but one thing you did agree on is Psalms 83, let's cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel will be no more in remembrance. You did agree on that, right? It says, O ye destroyers, right? Plural, right? Being you and the other nations, Esau, Edom, starting with Edom. Ye destroyers, plural, of my heritage, talking about the Israelites, because you traded us. As gifts one with another, right? That's Revelations 11, right? It says, because, yes, right here. That's Revelation 11, because ye are grown fat as the heifer at grass. That's Revelation 18, right? Because you have you have the nations got rich, right? Right? Matter of fact, let me get that real quick. Now I'll jump back here. So this is Revelation chapter 18, verse 12. It says the merchants of gold and silver, right? Because that's actually real money, right? Which that's why you're seeing via the stock market, gold is at what, $5,000, $6,000 an ounce, troy ounce, right? Silver kind of went up to about $75. I don't know if it jumped up to $90 or something like that, but it kind of went back a little bit to 70 at some point. But it's up a lot higher than it used to be, right? Because they know that that's real money, right? Which is it's gonna get a lot higher than that, right? And that's how you're supposed to. That's true money. And precious stones, right? Which diamonds are not precious stones, right? Because even in the Bible, when it mentions stones, it doesn't mention diamonds, rubies, sapphires. It mentions, amethyst. It mentions certain things, even though in this world they don't consider those, like the amethyst, that much like that. But truly, a true amethyst is going to be worth money. It's not going to be the way they're doing things now, or giving you a fake one, and calling it an amethyst. But no, it's worth money, It says, and pearls, right? That's real thing. That's something real. Pearls, fine linen, purple, right? And silver, Silk and scarlet and all dying wood and all manners of vessels of ivory, right? Yeah, because I believe the ivory comes from like a tusk of an elephant, right? Which is meant to be rare, right? You're not supposed to just kill off all the elephants, you know what I mean? Just so you can have ivory, you know what I mean? It says all manners of vessels of most precious wood and of brass and of iron and marble, right? Let me skip down 15, right? Because it's talking about what the riches, you know, because that's what happened. Matter of fact, where's it at? Yeah, that's it. It says the merchants of things which were made rich by her delicacy, which is talking about Babylon, America, right? Putting the Israelites in slavery and trading them, you know, made you wealthy. Shall stand afar off for the fear of her torment, because that's what's about to happen to this place. The ICBM missiles about to make this place be a desert, right? The world's biggest desert, right? And the destruction is going to be so fierce and so damaging. It's hey man, for the fear of the torment, right? It's going to be like torment, man. It's going to be noise that's heard from on the other side of the planet. That's how great the destruction. That's how great the punishment is about to be upon this place. Yes, sweeping or weeping and welling, right? Yeah, the cries. Yeah, it's going to be heard on the other end of the other end of the world, Slakia, right? Trying to see, man. Because this is basically talking about your destruction about it. Damn, somebody trying to go. Yeah, well, I guess so. It says, for all the nations have drunken of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, because hey, they're all finna get judgment, and they're gonna be pissed off that they're gonna have to face this judgment, because basically it's gonna be like, hey, look, you told us if we separate these people, if we put them in low condition, they will never remember who they are. Don't worry about God judging us, you know, and you know, people are indifferent when they're winning, right? You know, as long as when they were winning, they were cool. But now the affliction is about to happen. Now, it says that the nations are, this is Revelation 17, the nations are mad, right? They're going to be mad at them, at Esau, Edom, mad at America, right? For all the nations have drunken of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, which is talking about America, right? They got rich, right? You know, fornication means, you know, it's even in you know, it's a sexual term, but this is also there's a thing called fornication of sin, right? You polluted the earth, which is a sin. There's a law. There's laws on how you're supposed to take care of the earth, the way you're supposed to cut trees, right? And you know, they listen to these people. Those are fundamental laws that everybody's supposed to know. You know, you don't disforestation trees and things all for the sake of profit. But that's what they did. They polluted the earth. The Lord says, destroy them which have destroyed the world. Well, Esau ain't the only one, right? China has a big factory. I the East Indians, right? Right, which is Elam, right? The Iranians, which are Persia, they had big factories that pour out a lot of poison in the air, right? Hey, but you made us filthy, right? When it's a term in business, you were in bed with them, right? Not that you were actually, which they might be according to the Epstein files, but there's a term of being in bed, being business wise. Yeah, so it was what? Fornication, right? And the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, right? Which is talking about America, Babylon the Great, the daughter of Babylon, and the merchants of the earth. That's what I was looking for. And the merchants of the earth are wax rich through the abundance of her delicacy, right? Right? See, yeah. And that's ultimately what it is. They got fat. They got rich. They got fat. So I'm gonna come. Salakia. Excuse me. Back here, Jeremiah 50:11. I'm gonna pick it up where I left off. Because ye are grown fat as a heifer at grass, as bellow as a bull, right? Big, healthy. It's time for the slaughter, ultimately, right? Right? And all these nations are going to be mad at you, right? Your mother, right? Even your mother, which is England, because America branched off from England. Your mother shall be sore confounded, right? Because of the punishment. Because they were drunken with the wrath of her fornication, which is America's fornication. The Lord is judging them now. So now they upset. You know what I'm saying? Now it's like, it's your fault. You know what I mean? And they're going to lash out at her. Right? Your mother shall be sore confounded. Right? So what does sore mean? Sore is to be hurt. Right? Open wound. Right? Confounded is to be, taken down or taken out or exposed, right? Something pretty much like the Epstein file. This thing, basically, it's coming from America, but it's exposing, what is it, the Prince Andrew? So even your mother is a shame, right? It's exposing them, right? She that bore you shall be ashamed, because behold, Slakia, which means feature eyes, look, pay attention. The hindermost, right? The very last nation ever to occur on the planet is this place. It's the hinder of all the other nations. The very last one to the fourth corner of the earth, which make a four corners of the earth, which make it the prophecy of them being able to deceive the four corners of the earth, right? That had to happen, showing you that Esau was going to be ruling at the end, right? Because the wicked, the earth is given. Job 9:24, the earth is given into the hands of the wicked. Malachi 1:4, Esau is what the borders of wickedness. So it begins and ends with Esau, right? Was it 2nd Ezra 6? And this is 8, 6 and 8. Yeah. Esau's the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. Right? So, yeah. It's all there, So the hindermost of the nations shall be a wilderness, right? Because they're going to be mad. They're going to shoot them arrows at this place. The Lord said, spare no arrows. It says a wilderness and a dry dry land and a desert, right? That's what's going to happen to this place, man. Right? Because what ultimately because it's the wrath because of the wrath, right? Of Yahweh Bahasham Yahushai, it shall not be inhabited, but it shall be wholly desolate. Every one that goeth by Babylon, which is talking about America, the daughter of Babylon, shall be astonished and a hissing at all her plagues, the missiles that's going to hit, right? And we basically pretty much read that they're gonna be looking at it like, oh damn, they're gonna hear from afar off the cries, you know, the punishment.
Shall be darkened, and the stars shall withdraw their shining. The Lord also shall roar out of Zion and utter his voice.
That's when the missiles come, and when he roars, he's going to be in the presence of the missile. That's Ezekiel. What is that? Ezekiel 38.
From Jerusalem, and the heavens and the earth shall shake, but the Lord will be the hope of his people, and
the heavens and the earth shall shake. And the heavens and the earth shall shake. I got to come back to that.
Strength of the children of Israel, so shall ye know that I am the Lord your God, dwelling in Zion, my holy mountain. Then shall Jerusalem be holy, and there shall no strangers pass through her any more. And it shall come to pass in that day that the mountains shall drop down new wine, and the hills shall flow with milk, and all the rivers of Judah shall flow with waters, and a fountain shall...
That's the kingdom. Kingdom's going to be on earth.
Come forth of the house of the Lord, and shall water the valley of Shittim. Egypt shall be a desolation, and Edom shall be a desolate wilderness, for the violence against the children of Judah, because they have shed innocent blood in their land.
Except for the ones that accepted Yahushai. No, Jesus. Because these guys, I don't even think Hakan Hassad even use the word Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai anymore. They did it, like I said, they did 180-degree turnaround, about face.
But Judah shall dwell forever, and Jerusalem from generation to generation, for I will cleanse their blood that I have not cleansed, for the Lord dwelleth in Zion.
Now wait a minute.
The words of Amos, who was among the herdmen of Tekoa.
Yeah, so this is Job chapter 34, verse 19. The point is in 20. But I'm gonna go ahead and read down to 21. It says, how much less to him that accepteth not the person of princes, right? You're a ruler. You're ruling the world. You're the unjust steward. You're in rulership. You think just because you're in rulership, somehow you can manipulate things and then keep your blessing. But the Lord said that he's not a respecter of persons, let alone just because you're a prince, because you're a ruler. Oh, I'm going to accept you because you're this ruler. No, it's not set up that way. No regard. Yeah, the rich, right? Because you set up your trillionaires. You're the world bankers. You set up all these oligarchs, these billionaires in Trump's cabinet, and somehow because you got all these billions and millions of dollars and you got this great military, that it means the Lord's going to accept you for and allow you to keep ruling. Well, there's certain laws and things that you broke, and then the wages of sin is what is death, right? Not that the laws were for you, but then you did take on the laws by taking on the Bible, saying that you're these Bible believing people, saying that you wish. So now you're required. That's why those two lands are going to be the primary focus of the Lord's judgment. The land that they call Israel, and in Babylon, the daughter of Babylon, which is America, right? Because you took on that talking point. And if the Lord judged his people for going off, how much more you heathen who should have had nothing to do with the scriptures. You should have just stayed in your lot. You punished us, you ruled, and when your time was over and you realized we knew who we were, and yet, you know what? You're right. You're the Israelites. Give us the money, put us back in our state. You are the people, the God of Israel. So on and so forth. What you should have did when you read, and it was Luke, right? When it talks about the unjust steward, take the billfold, cut it in half. That's what you should. But what you're gonna do is you're gonna starve out the entire world. You're gonna micro-C-hip everybody. You know what I'm saying? This is your thought. Instead of saying, you know what, hey, they're the people here. Nope, don't worry about it. All that bills and the things and the college and you know what? Yep, nope. We do owe you. We owe Henrietta Lacks' children. You're talking trillions and billions of dollars because of all the medicine that you took from her cells. That you took from her. I don't know if it was her placenta or something, but you took her cells. Right? Right? And make trillions and trillions of dollars. And you owe Israel, man. You owe the entire nation. But you don't really want to pay, right? It says regard the rich more than the poor. See, and that's in your mind. Your mind and your thought process is that the Lord regards the rich more than the poor. But the Lord is not a respecter of persons. Sin is sin, and the wages of sin is death. But definitely because you're rich, what it says, power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. And you have absolute power, and you're absolutely corrupt, right? For they all are the worker, or they all are the work of his hands, right? They all created by the Lord, and the Lord don't have to answer to nobody. Sin is sin, right? And the wages of sin is death. That's it. Says a moment shall they die, right? Everybody's going to hey, you're gonna meet that maker regardless. You're gonna be standing before Yahweh and Yahweh Shai, man, at the end of the day. That's it. And ultimately Yahweh Shai, because Yahweh Shai is gonna be on that white throne, that white judgment throne, right? But of course, Yahweh don't lose any power. The power is really his, and he gave it unto his son. It says, and the people shall be troubled at midnight, right? Because this is the time what Jacob's trouble, right? You're coming against the northern kingdom now, but slowly but surely you're coming against the southern kingdom, and it's going to be full scale Jacob's trouble. But soon as Jacob's trouble is out, that's why it says that the hand betwixt the hill, right? Soon as Jacob's trouble, Esau's trouble, the whole world is going to be in trouble. Because technically this is going to be your midnight and it's coming to our daytime, our daylight, which is Yahweh Shai ruling. Right? Now it's going to be, the night is going to fall on you. Right? Trouble is going to fall on Esau. Right? And it says and pass away, right? So when your midnight come, you're going to be non-existent, right? And the mighty shall be taken away without hand. Speaking of Yahweh Shai, because it talks about how Yahweh Shai is going to destroy it. I seen him not lift up nor sword, nor weapon nor instrument of war, right? Speaking of Yahweh Shai is going to destroy you. For his eyes are upon all the ways of man, and he seeth all his goings. So the Lord he been knowing about the Epstein file. He been knowing everything. The Lord record everything you ever done, right? Throughout time, history, everything. The Lord knows everything. Everything you've done. So you think because you're rich, because you got a couple of ray guns and you got weather manipulation things, you got so-called spacecrafts, or what you call what is it called, the sixth branch of the military, the Space Force, that's gonna deter your punishment? No, your time, your midnight means you're passing away. So what is it, 80 something seconds to you're being wiped out, man, to you losing complete power, right? Yeah, Jacob's gonna get judged, the 2/3, but ultimately that's a sacrifice for the elect, right? Yeah, continuing on that Job 34 and 21, for his eyes, right, what you're talking about, the chariots, the angels, what they call UFOs are really angels, which they're the chariots of the Lord, and those are the Lord's eyes, are upon the ways of man. So there's an angel always watching, right? Not to mention there's the Lord also said that I created the eyes, shall I not see? I created the ears, shall I not hear? So the Lord knows everything. The Lord's spirit is in everything, in the animals, the little ant that's walking around, the trees, right? The stars, the sun, the moon. The Lord's spirit is in everything. The universe, right? You hear how the scientists keep speaking about how the universe keep expanding, right? So that's the spirit of the Lord, man. The Lord said, I go prepare a place, man. The universe is expanding. The spirit of Yahweh is in every... Hey, matter of fact, the spirit of Yahweh is going to be in those missiles, right? So, for his eyes are upon the ways of man, right? You're just a man, whether you're rich or poor, doesn't matter. But the Lord is going to show favor to the poor, which are basically the Israelites, right? The elect, of the nation of Israel, and he seeth all his goings, right? All your every wicked thought, every everything you ever did, things ain't gonna go unpunished, right? Yeah, so what says for his eyes, continuing, Job 34 and 21, for his eyes, which are the angels, right? Who are in those what they call UFOs, which are really angels, who even their top scientists say that they're very tall, 15 feet tall black men, right? But so, but the eyes of the Lord are upon every place, the angels, but not to mention the Lord said that what? He made the eyes, shall he not see? He made the ears, shall he not hear? So the Lord knows everything that's going on. He knows your secret counsels, thinking because you're the Illuminati, who shall see us, who shall know us. We're gonna do these things. No one knows what's really going on. But how is the Lord exposing you through these things? Not just your own tongues falling upon you, these are whistleblowers, but just the men of the Lord, man. The spirit of Yahweh Bashim Shai shows that you believe, that your NWO is the end all be all, and but there's an end to you. The Lord sees it. His eyes, which are the angels, are upon the ways of man, and he seeth all his goings, right? Every wicked, perverse thing you think in your mind, everything that you've ever done throughout history, from the time that you were Cain to the time that of now, being the descendants of Esau, being the Edomites, the Lord knows everything you've ever done, right? Says there is no darkness, right? Or shadow of death, right? Which is America, right? America is the shadow of death, right? And though you do all these dark things, and people are finding out about what do you call it? All this human flesh and man, some darkness, man, where the workers of iniquity, right? That's you, the so-called Illuminati, the oligarchs, right? May hide themselves. You're trying to hide yourself behind, your witchcraft, right? That's why the Lord said, if it be able, go back to being your old self, do the things from your youth, and see if your monthly prognosticators and stargazers and enchantments can save you, but we know it's not going to save you, for he will not lay upon man more than right, that he should enter into judgment with the power, right? Yeah. So basically, if you were right and you were doing the righteous thing, you're doing the right thing, you wouldn't be facing judgment, right? Right? For he shall break in pieces mighty men, right? Your military, right? All 6 branches of your military. It's gonna break it all in pieces, right? Of your mighty men without number, and sitteth another in their stead. So it's going to basically be a transfer of power, man, right? Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth, right?
Simultaneously, in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you exactly how Iran pulled this off. Because what happened this week is not a news story. It is a masterclass in strategic survival that every government on earth is studying right now. And the implications for your money, for oil markets, for the next 6 months of geopolitical reality are the opposite of what you were told to expect. Start with what Trump actually said on Tuesday, February 25th, 2026. Compare it to what he said on February 19th. On February 19th, at the Board of Peace meeting, Trump issued a deadline. 10 days, perhaps 15, but no more. Bad things happen if Iran doesn't deal. Binary, absolute. The language of someone who has made a decision and is announcing its timeline. On February 25th, Trump told reporters something different. He said Iran wants to make a deal. He said they've sent signals. He said he thinks we can work something out. Same president, 6 days apart. Completely different posture. The word deadline had disappeared from his vocabulary. The phrase, bad things had been replaced with, we can work something out. That shift is not a communications adjustment. That is a strategic retreat dressed in optimistic language. And Tehran noticed before Washington's own press corps did. Here's the $200 billion number, where it comes from, why it matters. Iran's gamble was never military. Iran is not suicidal. Iran's gamble was economic and psychological, and it was calculated with a precision that the Western narrative of Iranian irrationality completely missed. The calculation went like this. Iran has approximately $200 billion in total economic leverage, not in cash reserves. In strategic positioning, $10 billion in direct oil revenue leverage through the threat of Strait of Hormuz closure, $30 billion in proxy network activation costs it can impose on American regional operations, $60 billion in energy market disruption it can trigger through credible threat alone, without firing a single missile. $100 billion in global economic second-order effects, supply chain compression, insurance premium spikes, LNG disruption to Europe, manufacturing slowdowns in Asia, that activate the moment the strait becomes contested. None of this requires Iran to win a military conflict. None of this requires Iran to survive an American bombing campaign. It only requires Iran to make the cost of attacking it high enough that the attacker blinks first. And the attacker just blinked. The mechanism of the blink was not accidental. It was engineered. Iran did 5 things in the past 3 weeks that individually looked like desperation. Together, they constituted a trap. The first thing Iran did was send the United Nations letter on February 20th, declaring all American bases legitimate targets. Every analyst called it escalation. It was the opposite. It was legal architecture. Iran was building an international law record that complicated American decision-making by raising the diplomatic cost of strikes to include narrative loss, not just military response. By writing formally to the UN, by invoking international law, by framing everything as defensive response to American aggression, Iran was not threatening. Iran was documenting, creating a record that could be cited after the fact. A record that every nation currently watching from the sidelines, China, Russia, India, Turkey, every Gulf state, would reference when deciding whether American military action was aggression or defense. That letter was not sent to Antonio Guterres. It was sent to Beijing, to New Delhi, to Ankara, to every capital that Washington needs on its side when the bill for this conflict arrives. The second thing Iran did was allow the nuclear talks to continue without conceding anything. This looks like stalling. It is not stalling. It is the most sophisticated use of diplomatic process as a weapon that Iran has deployed in 20 years of nuclear negotiations. Every day the talks continue is a day Iran's nuclear sites get harder to destroy. Satellite imagery confirmed this week that the rectangular building at Parchin that Israeli strikes damaged in 2024 has been completely rebuilt under a concrete shield that defeats optical satellite reconnaissance. Near Natanz, tunnel complex entrances have been reinforced and hardened since February 10th. Continuously, without pause. During every round of negotiations, Iran is negotiating with one hand and constructing with the other. The Chinese YC-8B anti-stealth radar deployed to Iran adds another layer. This is not Iranian equipment. It is Chinese technology specifically designed to track B-2 Spirit stealth bombers, the same aircraft that conducted Operation Midnight Hammer in June 2025. Every day of diplomatic delay is a day that technology gets more integrated into Iranian air defense networks. The target is getting harder. The intelligence picture is getting more uncertain. The operational risk is growing. The clock Trump set himself is running. The third thing Iran did was make the economic cost visible before a single shot was fired. This was the masterstroke. Brent crude above...
So basically, yeah, that's just showing that, and that's really mostly the Most High, you know, because nothing could happen before the micro C-HIP is pushed, right? And so basically, Trump just blinked. It was, you know, because it speaks about that in the scriptures about before you go to war, right? You have to count the cost, right? Yeah, so this is Luke chapter 14, verse 28. For which of you intended to build a tower, right? Which a tower is strategic for war in itself. You want to build a tower so that you could see out far before the enemy get in. And, you know, you want to have that type of thing, which kind of, that's like what China helped Iran get with that satellite that's able to detect the stealth. That's like equivalent to a tower, basically. You know, you could see the enemy before it comes. It helps. You know, it says sitteth not down first and counteth the cost, rather he have sufficient to finish it, right? Make sure you got enough funds, people, time. It's a lot of things when it comes to war, or rather how beneficial things are going to be. If long term, if you don't go to war, what is this thing going to be there for? You gotta, it's gotta, like they say, make it make sense. It says less happily after he have laid the foundation and is not able to finish it, and all that behold, which means to look, feast your eyes, look, pay attention, it begin to mock him, right? And the whole world is watching. You're the so-called president, right? You're the chief. What is it called? The what's it called? How they say the chief of the free world, right? You're the main guy. So the whole world's watching. Anytime he does anything, which he loves it, he's all over So the whole world is mocking him. The whole world's laughing, right? Because you blinked. And as soon as they said they were going to block that Hormuz or whatever it is, I don't remember how to say the name, but it must be important for trade, right? So that was strategic, man. Can you afford this? Like on the Mac, I said, motherfucker, can you buy that? Right? Don't look at me. Yeah, your bitch chose me. You know what I'm saying? But yeah. But yeah, that's where it is. Unless he happily says after he have laid the foundation and is not able to finish it, all that behold, right? Look at him. It begin to mock him, and that the whole world is mocking you. Hey, have you become weak as we? That's how they looking at it. Oh, this dude. Oh, they're not as strong as they. Oh, now, you know what I mean? Especially that little flex, and then you didn't get nothing out of that flex. Saying this man begun to build and was not able to finish it. This dude began to flex on us, and they didn't budge. Oh yeah. What it says, what the Lord said, what? Let the weak say I'm strong. Hey man, that's just what happened. And ultimately, it's really the Most High. It ain't time. The micro C hip it's not mandatory throughout the whole world yet. They are pushing the digital ID, right? They are pushing the what's it called? The biometrics, right? Was it Vietnam? Where they locked a lot of people out from their banks, 60,000 or 60 million people or something like that. I think it might have been 60 million, like it's up there. Out for not putting their biometrics into their bank. So yeah, but it's not on a full scale. So ultimately, it's the Most High controlling it because it ain't time. That's why they didn't just strike. But still, or what king goeth to make war against another king and sitteth not down and consulteth, rather he be able with 10,000 to meet him that cometh against him with 20,000, which, yeah. You got to be able to count the cost, you know what I mean? Because it's not like just because you got a small army that you can't win. I mean, the Lord set it up where 300 destroyed a mighty army of 10,000, right? You know, so, you know, ultimately the battles are won through Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. But as you know, the Lord ain't with Esau no more. So he haven't won a battle. He haven't won a battle in quite some time. So the whole flex, that's why it ain't work. They're laughing at you. It's not even working. You know, you've been the bully, but people are recognizing, man, dude's getting older, a little sluggish. You know what I mean? You ain't, you know. You know, like a boxer. You use the top boxer, but you know your right hand. You know, I could time it now. You know, back in the day, you were fast. So it was hard to time your punch, but now your punches you could time it, and that's what they did. Oh, okay, yeah, you want to? Okay, I'll block off this. That's money. I'll block this off. I'll use this. I'll shoot your bases. That's money, man. Can you afford this? Can you afford to lose this? No? Okay, well then go sit down. Right? It says, or else, while the other is yet a great way off, he sendeth an ambassage, or like an ambassador, right? Ambassage, and desireth conditions of peace, right? And that's ultimately what you got a deadline of 15 days or else it ain't going to be good. And it was like, well, we can make we can make peace. We can make you know, we can work something out. Yeah, the flex didn't work. But because it's not time quite yet. With all that, I want to give all praises, all honor, and all glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Racha HaKodash. I'd like to give double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and do well, to the elder apostles, bishops in Connecticut, the bishops, the preachers, the teachers, the evangelists, and the four winds preaching in truth and sincerity, risking your lives more now than ever, the hopeful elect, Shalom, to the Israelite foreigners who phenotype may look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel through your father and have come back to the fold. Shalom to you sisters, your akhwatim, who listen and learn under your husband, which is your spiritual leader, with meekness and with silence, and above all, and Kwam Yasharallah.